Alright guys, welcome back to another Ryotek YouTube video. Today we got something special. We're going to be doing an interview with the developers of the Dark World Infinite Control new mobile game coming sometime this year. I think they haven't released the date just yet. Before we jump in, I'm going to read a little bit about it. They've released to me. I'm going to read it and then we're going to jump into the interview. So, in an effort to evolve to the next level, mankind has looked towards the stars and other planets in hopes that they will be able to find a powerful resource. But Earth is now broken up into many different factions, each one with the desire to possess infinite control over the others. Not far off, in a galaxy nearby, an alien race called the Ryotek is collecting dark matter and dark energy. They have learned how to locate, collect it, contain it, and use it to expand control over multiple planets. When the factions of Earth discovered the new galaxy and began to explore, they learned about the Ryotek and their technology, how they were able to find the dark and leverage it, using its power to control and expand over the other alien races. Alright guys, so with that in mind, we're going to jump right on in to the interview. We're going to be talking to Vander and Extreme. You know them both very well. So without further ado, we're going to jump right on in. Welcome, guys.
Hello, welcome. Hey, how's everybody doing?
We're glad to have you here. Glad to have you both here. So we all know what we're gonna be doing. Without further ado, I'd like to jump right on into it.
Sounds good.
So, before we actually start with the questions, would either of you like to do any kind of introduction of your own?
Sure. I'll go and then Extreme can go if you'd like. So yeah, I am Fatsquatch. I am the notorious Fatsquatch, and I've been playing RTS games for a little while, probably just like Extreme. I mean, starting back in the 90s, with like games like Command and Conquer in 1995, Age of Empires 1997. There's another one called Commandos back in 1998, and then Generals in 2003, I think it was. Warcraft 3 and StarCraft, and then I got into mobile. I was kind of looking for something on mobile, and something like Command and Conquer, or something that I could do, on the go, and like not have to have a computer, right? And so I found Art of War 3, and that's what kind of took me in, kind of brought me back into that, but into mobile, and I really enjoyed it. I thought, man, this is great. This reminded me a lot of Command and Conquer. So, as far as just playing games and stuff, and just being a gamer, and specifically in the genre of RTS, or real-time strategy games, I really, I enjoy that genre, and I enjoy playing with others, interacting with others, and just the strategy and everything. So, yeah. That's a little bit about me. I do have the YouTube channel, Fatsquatch Games, and I can talk more about that and what led me to doing this. But yeah, I'll turn it over to Extreme.
Well, everyone knows me as Extreme. In real life, my name is Ramon. Just like Fatsquatch, I've been playing real-time strategy games for, when I was just a little kid. But I started a little bit earlier than Fatsquatch. I started with June 2 on a very old PC. I always loved coming home from school. And then the first thing I did was playing that game. Later on, I too played Command & Conquer and StarCraft, Warcraft 2. Well, actually all the retro real-time strategy games, if you will. But I got a little bit of a bigger palette, if you will. I have also seen other real-time strategy games like also Age of Empires, a modification for that game like Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, Crush Kill and Destroy is one of those other games, and Warzone 2100. And knowing this, later on in this interview, you might find out that I've been picking some ideas on those. Anyway, later on, I too was searching for a great real-time strategy game on the mobile. I tried a couple of games like that, but they weren't much to me. Then I got a new mobile, and the first thing I did was install Art of War 3, because I actually decided to do so after watching a certain YouTuber in that regard. It was Tracy. But that was at the early beginning. And later on, I really enjoyed Art of War 3. I learned to... I started learning other people, to know other people in that community, and that's how I met Fatsquatch. A very great guy with his YouTube channel. And I too started with YouTube at that time. You can still find me under the name Extreme, Art of War 3. But if you visit the channel, you will find that I have been playing 2 other real-time strategy games. Actually 3 now. So I hope you enjoy those videos as well. But that would be about enough of me for now. Back to you.
All right. Well, it's great to hear a little bit of background from both of you. We know where you've come from now and what you've seen. So, with that in mind, we also can ponder where you're getting the ideas for your game. So, with that in mind, we're going to start off with the first question, which we already know the answer to part of it. What do you call in the game, and how did you find its name? So we already know that the game is going to be called Dark World Infinite Control. So, how did you find this name? Where did it come from?
Technically, the title is Infinite Control, and then Dark World. Just to clear that one up, just so you know. And it goes in that order just because the whole idea. It's funny. I was actually Flame Squatch and I were talking, and I'd come to the realization that I'm like, I want to do this. I want to make something for the players, for me, for everybody else that likes RTS games. And so, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, what is the premise, and what is the whole story behind it, right? Like, what would happen? And I wanted it to be a little bit different, but I also wanted it to have that sense of like, what does it mean to play RTS, right? What does it mean to do real-time strategy? I mean, you have all these moving parts, right? And you have to control them. And so the idea kind of came from, we were coming up with words and thinking of, okay, what is it? What should it be? And we came up with Infinite Control, right? And so just really felt like it really connected to the whole idea of real-time strategy, being able to control in real time, and so that's where that came from. And then the Dark World part really ties in the story, ties in the lore, like the whole picture of here you have mankind, who later in the future, right? That's in the future, and they have, done what mankind does. And unfortunately, they're in different factions. They've broken up into different pieces. And there's not really countries anymore. It's more factions. and they're all kind of trying to get the upper hand, just like always, on each other, right? They're trying to look for that edge. And so they all go to space, and they try to find something that will give them that edge, and they discover a new galaxy, a new place. And on this planet, they discover an alien race that has figured out a way to locate dark matter and dark energy and use it to their advantage. And so now all these human factions want that, and they've decided to go to this planet and take it for themselves. But the whole story really starts to come together when they hit the planet, and they're all going for the same resource. But they're not only doing that, they've got to go up against themselves and this alien race that is superior to them in every way. And in a way, they are the antagonist, right? They're the ones coming and taking. And so here's this alien race who's been left alone and goes from planet to planet. Obviously, they're not that great either, because they're going from planet to planet and taking whatever they want and taking that dark matter and dark energy. But they're there, and they were left alone doing their thing. And here comes this human race, these human factions into the picture. And now you've got this whole interaction between the factions and the alien race, and then later on in the game, other alien races are kind of basically introduced. And so it's just a really neat and interesting twist to it, because most of the time in most of the games, there's always something coming to our planet, right, to Earth. There's something attacking Earth, or and human beings have to be the ones to try to defend the planet. In this picture, the humans are the ones actually attacking the planet. And so it's kind of a neat twist to it, and I think the players will really enjoy the story and enjoy the way that it unfolds during the game, the gameplay.
All right. It's awesome to hear all of that. So, with all that in mind, your game seems to be one that we're anticipating highly. So, what games on the market already can you compare your game to, or do you want to compare it? And any competition that you're going to be worried about?
It's a great question. So, before I started to even consider it, making a game, I did a lot of research. And obviously I knew about a lot of games. What's interesting about the mobile RTS category is, yes, there's a lot of competition, but it's a lot of it on the PC. There's a lot of it on the PC. In fact, there's a big one, and it's not really competition, but it's definitely going to make waves on the PC. It's called Stormgate. I don't know if you've read about it or heard about it, but those are developers, right, that have come from Blizzard. They left Blizzard. They opened up another studio, and they're creating a PC game that is pretty cool looking, right? They're doing something cool. They've even created their own engine for it, which I think is cool. So I highly recommend, if you play on the PC, to check that out. But as far as competition goes, in the mobile arena, I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't really see a whole lot of competition. Now, what's happened throughout the years, the last decade, is, actually the last 20 years or so, you see a decline. It's really been a decline when it comes to real-time strategy, the genre. It's been just on a steady decline. And so, right now what's happening is there's some studios and independent studios that are trying to kind of bring that to life, bring that back, bring it back. And so that's what Stormgate, that's what they're trying to do over there. And so, but in the mobile category, besides Art of War 3, there is nothing. And so, I mean, if you really take a close look at it, sure there's games that come out and say they're real-time strategy games, but they don't really incorporate all the pieces that make it real-time strategy. And so what you've had is you got the RTS genre, which is kind of becoming been cut to pieces and not fully what it is. And so I think that's what happens to a lot of players. Like Extreme said earlier, he was looking for something for the mobile, and they weren't really cutting it. And then he got a newer phone, and he downloaded Art of War 3 and started playing that and really enjoyed it. So there's things out there, but they're not that great. And so I really saw an opportunity to, one, obviously make something special for the player, but also fill a big hole in that category of mobile RTS, because I mean there's a big hole, and I think Art of War 3 has really benefited from that, being really the only one out there that's got that style of play, right? That really lets you do, control individual units and build your base and do that kind of stuff. They've really benefited from being really the only thing out there mobile for the moment. So that's great for them. And so, but I think it opens up opportunity for others, and that's why I think it's a great time to do this. And yeah,
That's great. I mean, we can all agree that the RTS genre for mobile, at least for mobile, has been watered down. We get bits and pieces from every game. None of them have given us all aspects of an RTS game lumped into one. So, Extreme, is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
Well, I could add something. My idea behind the whole mobile RTS game is actually Art of War 3 has done a tremendous job on how you can control the units. And that's something that all the other RTS games actually failed to do so. Art of War 3 is the only RTS game on the mobile that allows players to control the units like none other. There are a few games that come to mind on the mobile with RTS games that have something similar, but you would not expect that to happen from those games. Actually, there's only one game that comes to mind on the mobile, and that would have been the oldest RTS game that we all know of, is June 2. In June 2, well, it was a game for which you used a mouse, but on the mobile, surprisingly, you can use the exact same controls. They have a little menu of orders for the units, and it works perfectly. With just 2 thumbs, you can play it faster than you could on the PC. And I think that Art of War 3, in that regard, does the same thing. You can still play it on the PC with an, I believe it is called an emulator. But on the mobile it is much more playable, and I think why there aren't much RTS games on the mobile is because all those RTS designers think it's unplayable on the mobile. They all got the feeling we only want to use a mouse and maybe some short keys on the keyboard, but actually RTS games are pretty darn close to perfect games for on the mobile, if you ask me, better than first-person shooters. So indeed, the only competition right now would be Art of War 3 in terms of a great 3D RTS game on the mobile.
Nice. Alright. So, delving deep into the game here, how many factions are there going to be incorporated into your game?
Well,
That's a great question. So when I decided to put together the whole story and the game and everything, I decided that I didn't want to have traditional factions. So I thought it would be interesting if the players, because I was approaching the game from like, how can I make this interactive and how can I make it as social as possible and also customizable. And so I said, okay, let's take a new look at the way factions can be, right? So instead of setting up factions, which a lot of times they do that, right? They'll have 2 factions, let's say. And so traditionally, you got one good one and a bad one, that kind of thing. And then they'll maybe introduce like a couple of new factions. Well, with this game, what I wanted to do was I wanted to make it so that the players create the factions and give them the ability to do that through, and we can talk about it more, through the units, through the choices they make, and the skins and the customization they get to create through their clan, their own faction. So, and that kind of ties in with the story, right, behind the game. So the whole idea of human factions going to a planet. So this is, a clan, right, or a faction. Clan is the faction of the game. And so there'll be many, many factions, I would gather, because eventually as people come into the game and they realize, they want to be in a faction or a clan, that's going to create more and more factions. And so you'll have these unique player-made factions. And from those, our job will be to provide them with the pieces to make their faction unique through customization, units, and things like that. So
That's a very unique way to approach it. Very unique indeed. So basically, each person, each player will create their primary faction. Right?
Right,
So,
yeah, they'll either create a faction or they can join a faction.
Okay, so can you elaborate on how they're going to join a faction?
Yeah, so inside of the community area on the game, there's a community spot, where you can connect with other people. You'll be able to see the active clans that you may want to join. You can send requests to join them, just like you would join a clan, right? It's a faction, clan, faction, same thing in this game. So you would just send a request, or if you know someone and they want to invite you to the clan or the faction, they can do that. And it'll be simple to join it, just based on if they want to have you in the faction or not.
Alright, so right now we've got the actual opening to the game playing in the background while we're doing these questions. So, the community tab is going to be in the bottom left of the screen.
Right. Yep, that's correct.
Okay, so what we're looking at is an actual finished menu for the game.
That's the menu. Yeah, that's the I call it the command screen. Yeah.
The command screen. Alright. So, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next question, unless Extreme has some more he wants to add to the faction.
Well, what I could add, players have this unique play style they like to call their own, and it is often depending on how the units are used. Seeing as how most games are limited in the number of units, they all kinda start playing the same. What we want to achieve with these factions is that they will specialize themselves, and within their clan they will play out a certain role once they connect with other players in the game for a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 match. As you can see in all of our 3, for example, we always got this player that goes specialize in air, and another one goes ground only, and the third one might have to use ships. Something in that regard. They will all be getting their own specialism, and thus they create their own faction. The faction will probably be linked to certain players and their playstyle. They will be known for that. That would be about it for now.
Alright. So, I know this question is going to be asked. And I know everybody wants to know. Because 90% of games out there right now, whether it's mobile, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, all have this feature in them. So we're going to be curious about yours. Will this game that you're creating be like so many others that are on the market and be pay to win or not?
Well, that's a great question. This gets me excited. So, they really took a lot of time to think about the economy in the game economy, about how to make this different. And I feel like it's almost like we're changing the conversation a little bit with this, because for so long, like you said, pay to win, right? Free to play. Those have been the two big things, right? Free to play, pay to win. And in a lot of games out there, I mean, they'll put free to play just right out in the open, like free to play, right? Well, obviously, it's going to be free to play because we don't have to pay anything to play it. Right?
That's right.
But if you want to win, if you want to actually win and maybe enjoy the game, you've got to pay. And that's kind of that's been the shifting of the words there. And so the pay to win and free to play. So what I've come up with is free to win. Infinite Control Dark World is free to win. So that means you don't have to pay to win. You don't have to pay to play. The only thing you're going to pay for is to customize your experience. So if you decide you want a specific skin, you want to unlock something that gives you a different way to play, then fine. That's totally up to you. But to play it is free, and to win is free because everything you need you get from playing. So it's free to win.
Nice. Now, that question is one that rings through every gamer's ears when they go into a game for the first time. Am I going to have to pay in order to beat the game? Or am I going to have to pay in order to be able to play the game? With that question answered, let's dive deeper into the game. And if I'm correct, Extreme, you're probably the one that's working on the units?
That's correct, Carly.
Okay, so how many different units are there going to be?
Well, we've been thinking on that one for a while at the beginning. When Fatsquatch asked me if I would like to design the units, at least the numbers and balance, I started thinking, if players want to have as many factions as there are players, what would work best for the game? I've come up with this idea that I actually got from another game, and it has been tried before, and it would be unit customization. So the different units will actually be a combination from different parts that the player will compile together, and then they create their own unit. You always hear that in some games they complain about balance. No doubt it will happen for this game as well, but at least all players will be having access to the same unit design if they want to. So they want a certain unit for their army, let them design themselves. So the many different units, well, it's kind of calculation, if you will. We don't know the exact number, but let's just say the two main layers would be you pick out a body, it can be an infantry unit, so there will be various variations in that one. It can be a light vehicle, or it can be a tank. It can be a navy unit or an air unit. Those will be the first 5 main bodies to choose from, and every body will be having 3 different levels of how durable they will be. So for now we are planning on having 15 different bodies to choose from for the player, and then we will be adding 15 corresponding weapons. Each weapon will be used most optimal against a certain body, if you will, and multiply those two with each other, and then you already get to 225. But that's not all. We will allow the player to customize the bodies of these units, so you can add more armor, more durability, more movement speed, stuff like that through research. And you can upgrade the same parts, and you can switch them out if you like. So if you think this a certain part is not useful anymore, I want another part, you switch them out. And the same goes for the weapons, more attack range, maybe more damage, maybe a faster attack rate. It's all up to the player what they want. So in that regard, we kinda have a lot of different units.
I got you. So there's going to be a way to have many different units off of one single base unit, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes.
So-
we got this.
After he's done, I'll answer just a little bit based on like just the game part of it. So, but yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Okay.
Right. So we got this body. Let's begin with the light infantry. The players will all start with the light infantry. But later on they can choose another body, and then from there on out they will dive into a certain path which creates their own faction, and other players will be able to choose a different path. So you at least get many different armies already at the beginning with many different units. There's not much more to add to it right now.
Alright. You had something to add, Pat?
Yeah. And mine's more about the way that you unlock the units, or the bodies, if you will, and being able to customize those. So when you come into the game, you're going to have one unit from each category that's available to you automatically. You can select the body, one body from each category. So you'll come in, you'll choose your infantry unit, you'll choose your special vehicle or light vehicle, you'll choose your heavy vehicle, your tank, that category. You'll choose one from your sea or your water units, and then you'll choose one from your air units when you first start the game. We're talking like, rank 1. And then those units will be the units you use till you get to rank 10. When you get to rank 10, it'll unlock a second option. So you'll now have another body you can pick from. So you pick another one, and from there you'll begin to add, your weapons to that, and your armor and things like that, like Extreme was talking about. And then when you get to rank 20, it's going to open up two more. So initially you'll have, as far as bodies go, from rank 1 to rank 20, you'll have a total of 10 different bodies that you can use, right? And then when you get to rank 20, you'll add 2 more to that, so that'll be a total of 20 bodies, base bodies, that you'll be working from as far as designing your own unique units and how you want them to be weaponized and stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So now we know a little bit about the game. We know a little bit about the factions, a little bit about the units. So, with all that in mind, most RTS games require you to collect resources. So what kind of resource system do you have for the production of those subunits?
This is a good question. So, one of the things that I mean, obviously, resource gathering, right, is always a big part of RTS, you know, and production of resources and things. In this game, there's, and the focus, I really wanted the focus to be on how you manage your units. So, so what I did was I basically decided that we're going to have these buildings, if you will, or these structures that are Draics, and that's the name of the alien race is Draics. They're already established, right? They're already established on the planet. When you actually come to the planet, you're not really going to be building a base at first. You're really just like, imagine being in your ship and you're sending units down to the planet, because you've got to establish a presence there. You've got to establish, you know, hey, we're here. We have to get resources. We have to get established. So when you come into the game, you're basically going to start off like that. You're going to come in. You're going to select units, the units you want to use in the battle. You're going to go to the battle, and inside the battle is where you're going to collect these resources and these credits and stuff. And so you'll go and you'll try to take over these Draic structures, and these structures are specifically what hold and capture the dark energy and the dark matter. Now, when you do take over these buildings, you start to accumulate, right, the dark matter and dark energy, but you can only do it to a certain point, because you only have the HQ at this point. You have the HQ, and the HQ can only hold so much. As you play, though, the whole idea is you're saving up, you're accumulating the dark energy and dark matter, and this happens from when you start the game until rank 20. Okay, when you get to rank 20, the game really starts to take off for you, because now you can use the dark energy and the dark matter. And this whole time while you play, by the way, you're accumulating commander credits, is what it's called, based on the amount of time that you last inside this game or the battle. So, for example, every minute that you're in the battle, you're going to accumulate 1,000 commander credits. Okay? So if you are in the battle for 30 minutes, you will walk away, if you're the winner, you'll walk away with 30,000 commander credits. If you lose, you'll walk away with half of that. But you're still going to walk away with some credits, right? Now, the credits are going to be used to customize your units, and they're going to be used to do stuff inside the game. So the nice thing about it is, as a new player, maybe you're still getting used to playing RTS, so you're getting used to this game. You know, even if you get your butt kicked, if you can just last a little bit, you can get some credits, you can get some dark matter, dark energy, you can take over one of the structures, those kind of things. There's a lot of moving parts in the battle, so there's lots of ways to get rewarded, and there's also some really interesting missions that are part of that, as well as trying to get the alien artifacts for the Drake's Code. So there's a lot of different things that happen, but ultimately you're going to collect those resources and gather those credits and be able to use those to expand your units and develop them, and also start using that dark energy and dark matter when you hit rank 20.
Nice. All right. So on the same topic, and I know you kind of touched base on this, but I'm sure somebody's going to ask it along the lines. You mentioned something at rank 20. Now, after your initial impact on the map, where you've gotten your foothold, at some point along the lines, is there going to be any base building at all so that you can increase your military size and military strength?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me was, you know how like games will have a story mode, which we will have a story mode, actually co-op play story mode. But a lot of times they'll want to have you learn how to use stuff inside of story mode instead of just letting you enjoy the story. Like, it's like, you know, and my whole thing was, okay, why not just have this be part of the game gameplay? So my thought is, from rank 1 to rank 20, I just want them to focus on figuring out what they want their units to be like, figuring out how to play with their units, how to use their units. That's the whole idea behind that. And so I use the game to kind of build the storyline or the timeline and kind of say, okay, you've landed on the planet, and for the first 20 ranks, you're just figuring out what units you want to use, how you want to play with these units. And then when you get to rank 20, one of the vehicles, heavy vehicles, is a construction vehicle, a mobile construction vehicle. And from this point, this is when you will actually start to build structures. And you will be able to build defensive structures. You'll be able to build your HQ will all automatically be there, just like in Art of War 3. It's kind of like it's there. But you'll be able to rebuild that, if you would like, in another location on the map. And the reason I did this with a mobile construction unit is because, remember what I said before, you're going to want to take over these buildings, or these structures, alien structures, and you're going to have to defend that, because obviously, one, the alien race is not going to like that, and two, the other faction or factions are going to want it too. So that's going to be a huge part of, hey, I better create some defense around this building. And then also, the next part is, you want to hold more dark energy and dark matter. Well, we've got infinite silos, they're called, or infinity silos is what I like to call them. And so those silos will hold, one side is dark energy, one side is dark matter. So you'll build silos to hold more of that during your battle. The more silos you build, the more of those resources you'll collect during the battle. Okay? So if you really want to punch somebody in the gut, go destroy their silos, because that will slow down their ability to get more of the dark energy and dark matter. The other thing is, there'll be other buildings that allow you to produce more units, okay? And when I say produce, I'm really calling it cloning, because you only get the units that you've chosen before the battle, and the number of units you've chosen before the battle. You only get to use those. But as they die, you can clone them and reproduce them into the battle. So that's kind of the twist and spin on that. And so yes, there will be buildings that you will create and a base you will make, and you definitely at rank 20, like I said, that's why I'm giving players enough time to really get comfortable with their units and the gameplay, because when they hit rank 20, it will go to a different level. It will reach a different level. And then when it gets to rank 30, there'll be an additional building that they will create. And so yeah, and I can talk more about that later, but yeah, it's going to be really a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited to see how people use their units and build their bases.
As am I. I am very excited. All right, so touching on the military aspect a little bit further, how will my army be controlled? Will it be like individual control or as a mass group?
It will be individual control, and you will be able to group them together based on, obviously, if you want to just like select them all and put them into like a group. It's a mix of units, but you also have a quick key or quick connect, a quick control where you can just select a category. So let's say you have, a bunch of infantry units, but you want all of them. You want them all to move to this location. So you can actually click the infantry and not have to select them all. And it'll just automatically select them, click them where you want them to go. So you'll have those quick control options. And then you'll also be able to select them all. There's to mix the units, put them into a category, into their own group, or you can do them individually.
All right. Now, you did touch on the modes there just a second ago. I'm curious, are there going to be more than just the story mode? How many different modes are planned, and how will you set the games up?
So the story mode is going to be kind of interesting. So when you first come into the game, you're kind of automatically go into basically into the first chapter, if you will, of the story. And what that does is that gives you a background on the Draics. Because what happens is when you first come to the planet, and kind of the story is the humans are observing the Draics, right? At first, they're kind of looking to see what is this alien race? What are they doing? And discovering, wow, they have the ability to control, to detect and control this dark matter and dark energy. So the first chapter is kind of is that intro. And so that just kind of gets you familiar with the Draics. When you're done with that, then you're free to go and play all the rest of those, go play go battle and unlock your, do your units and everything. Now, the story mode continues when you join a faction, because at the end of your little story, before you go to play, it actually tells you that the only chance you have at basically overcoming the Draics is to join a faction, get support. And that's going to encourage you to go find a faction. When you find a faction, the story mode is what unlocks rewards for that faction. So, for example, when you start a faction up, you get 10 spots. When those 10 players get to rank 10, you get 10 more spots. Also, when they get to rank 10 and open up 10 more spots, you get 10 more chapters in the story mode. And as you complete those in co-op, you unlock rewards for the faction or the clan. And when I say co-op, I mean you're going to have these story mode missions that you can play with another faction or another clan member. So members of the clan will help the faction unlock these and get more rewards and unlock more for the clan. So that's kind of unique. I don't know of any other game that does it like that, but I felt like maybe there is, but I felt like that was a really neat way to do story mode, and also a social way through the co-op play, to connect you with your clan members
Absolutely.
and
It
your faction.
gets everybody used to using another player to help them along. In other words.
And so that's the story mode. There are battle modes. There's your traditional PvP 1v1 battle, right? You can either go challenge somebody directly on the world map, or you can go random and just have the game select someone for you. And so if you feel like you want to beef with somebody, go on the world map, go find them on the world map, click on their headquarters, and then it'll let you challenge them. If they're there, if they're available, they can probably battle you right away if they want to, or if they are not there, it'll just send them a message saying so-and-so has challenged you.
Wow. So it's not going to be a traditional PvP where you jump into the PvP combat and you're randomly chosen. You can actually go into a world map sort of setting and say this person beat you last time and you want to see if you can beat them. You can directly enter conflict with that player, in other words.
Right. Like, so if you go and you challenge somebody, there'll be an additional reward for winning if you challenge them and win. If you accept a challenge, there'll be an additional reward. So I imagine people will be challenging people left and right, but or you can go random, and it's kind of, sometimes it's better that way, because if somebody has been watching you and studying you, you may not want to, you don't know if that person challenging you has figured you out. You know what I mean? So, but if you go random, chances are that random player may not know you at all, and your chances might be better that way. So it just depends on what style of gameplay you want. Like, really, how do you want to approach the game? So you can do it one of those two ways when it comes to PvP. There's traditional team up. I call it team up. So there's challenge, team up, 2v2s, team up. And you can team up with a friend or a clan member, doesn't matter. And then you can go random against 2 other players. And then 3 versus 3 is called clan battle, or a clan challenge, basically. Or you and 2 other your clan members will go up against another clan, and that that's a random kind of thing. Or you can select, if you have a beef with another clan and you want to challenge a clan, you can literally challenge a clan. So it's really going to make it interesting. And then there's the tournament mode, which I call Infinity Tournament, which is a free-for-all. It's 6 players, and the Dregs is in the middle of the map, and always in the middle of the map for the tournament. It's like a King of the Hill almost. The 6 players go at it, free-for-all, in a tournament. And the cool thing about it is, so during the battle, you can click on another player and do a temporary alliance. So, and the alliance can last as long as you 2 want it to, but eventually it'll get to the end, and someone has to come out on top. So, because it's a tournament, so that's going to be fun to watch. And then on all of these modes, there is something called dark mode, and you can turn this on with the Dregs key. What dark mode is, it's kind of like, it just basically takes it to a more difficult setting. like we're talking like in an esports setting. All right, so it's hard, very hard. The Drax is like, just brutal, and it's just harder. So if you want to get really more of a challenge, turn on dark mode. And so when you use the Drax key and turn on dark mode, it lasts for 24 hours. And you can go and you can do that. Now, when you use dark mode, there's a dark mode ranking. So if you play that way, you'll start ranking on the dark mode rank. So people will see you. That's really the tournament. Like it's almost like the esports like ranking, if you will, of the game. And then from there, you've got the tournament ranking, and then you've got just overall world battle ranking. Yep.
Wow. So many different ways to play this upcoming game. Now, with that in mind, it is an upcoming game for hopefully this year. Do you have a game release date set, possibly? And if so, will you tell us?
That's a great question. So, on my end, I'm preparing to want to release it by the end of the year. That would be my goal. But here's the thing, and this is what February 1st is all about, obviously. We're going to show units, we're going to show a lot of things, talk about a lot of things in depth, and open it up to the community of players to say, hey, here is the idea, here's the concept, here's the game. But obviously, to build a game like this, you've got to have the resources to do it. So we're going to be launching the Patreon on that same day and allowing people players to be a part of that. Now, if we can get the support we need, then we'll build it and hopefully have it built by the end of the year. If we linger a little bit, then it may take a little longer, but I've decided that this is what I want to do. So whether, I want to give the community the chance to support it before I went and looked for, private funds or investment funds or any kind of thing like that, because I really want to keep control in the hands of players and keep it player centered. I don't want it to be, But the other cool thing about it is too, the way I want to build it, that those people or those players, the supporters that do hook up to Patreon and support it, are going to get early access. I mean, I'm talking like, get into the game and be in there as things are being updated, or being there as things are being added, and being able to be part of the testing and those kind of things. And so, and on top of that, every month that they do support, they're going to receive a reward inside the game. So every month they do it. So it's going to add up. So when they do go to play the game for the first time, they're going to start off with some great stuff, and so it's going to be nice for them. So that's kind of our thank you, and so it's going to be cool. It'll be really cool, I think, and I'm excited to see how it goes from there. But yeah, it should be great.
Awesome. And with that answer, you've answered a few other of the questions that I had for you. Of course, we'll get more information come February 1st, going live on your YouTube channel. That's Fatsquatch Gaming YouTube. You answered, how do we donate to the development? Now, you answered through Patreon. Is that going to be the only avenue that you give potential players or supporters the ability to develop toward your game?
Well, Patreon will be the main one, just because it'll be set up that way, just to be giving a monthly thing. But if someone wants to do more, then they'll just have to contact me, and we can discuss what that looks like as far as them giving more and being able to what does that give them in the game. Because this will be the only time during development that a player will be able to actually pay for credits And so when the game starts, there will be no more of that. You will only earn those credits through gameplay. So, or by trading. We didn't even talk about that. But
Trading.
so, yeah. So, you'll be able to trade with other players, resources and things.
Ah.
Yeah.
So-
it really does. It'll have its own economy. It'll inside the game. It'll be neat. But,
It'll be fun.
Yeah, so this will be the only time you can literally pay and then get credits, and that'll be during development. And when it's launched, then that goes away, and then what you have is what you have, and kind of trade for the rest.
So, with all this in mind, with all of everything that we've gone over here today, what all you've answered, what all we've been told, can you give us any insight to the game you may not have told us yet? Any bite-sized details you may want to share? That goes for either you, Fats, or Extreme. Either of you two can answer. I know we've
All I can say-
I know we've covered a lot today. So
Yeah. No, it's been nice to scratch the surface with you. I'm glad we got the chance to talk a little bit about things. And if you guys show up on February 1st, we're going to spend a couple hours, and we're going to go into more details. I mean, I'm going to let you know what it's going to be like, talk more about, just go through it. But I guess just know that I'm aware of what happens with games is, you have these players, there's just the grind right through the game, and then all of a sudden they're like at the end of the game. So this is being made so that doesn't happen. This is going to give you, for example, Art of War 3, right? I think the top player is like ranked 28. And their top rank is 29, I think, or something. So, which is interesting because with this game, when you hit rank 30, that's when you get to basically become allies with another alien race. And yeah, there's more
opens
on
up
that.
a
We'll talk
whole
about
nother
that.
avenue.
Yeah, that opens up a whole nother part of the story. So I'm using the gameplay to tell the story, and so that's really the big thing. So you don't have to worry about it ever getting boring or ever reaching the top of it, really, because like Extreme said earlier, with 200 plus different variations of units, through customization and the way that you can play against others and the factions that will be developed. The whole thing is just really an opportunity for people to play together and have a good time and enjoy real-time strategy and enjoy being part of that whole story. And so, yeah, I'm excited. What about you, Extreme?
Well, I guess I'll keep it a little bit short because I don't want to tell secrets, but what I want to talk about on the 1st of February would be stuff like how the vision mechanics will work in this game. That's an important factor. Other aspects would be like how the armor mechanics might work. Stuff like that. And of course, more detail about how to design your units.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure that somebody out there is asking this question. I'm sure they are. Whether they're asking it in chat or just pondering it in their head. But this is a question that I've pondered this entire interview. Come February 1st, you've made note of that several times, that date. Are we going to get any alpha gameplay footage?
I'm going to give you a screenshot. I'm going to give you some a couple shots of action shots, I guess you could call them, huh?
So we're gonna get some action shots.
Yeah, you get some action shots. I will provide some action shots for you.
Awesome. I cannot wait. Well, fellas, it's been great having you here. Y'all have answered lots and lots of questions about the game, and I'm sure you've got more that you're going to be answering on February 1st. So, guys, make sure you tune in to Fatsquatch Games YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, just so that you can make sure that you are there on February 1st. What time is it going to be, Fatsquatch?
9 a.m. Pacific time. So an hour earlier than this one was today.
So 9 a.m. Pacific time is when he's going live with more details on this game. Make sure you guys tune in. It's been great having you here, guys. Thank you for all that you do.
Thanks a lot, Commander Corley. Appreciate your interview.
Absolutely. Y'all stick
Thank you,
around.
Commander Crowley.
Y'all stick around. I'm going to end the live stream here. I'll be back with you shortly. Alright guys, that was a great interview with them. I'm going to go jump in, have a little conversation with them, find out what I can for February 1st. If they allow me to release it, I'll go ahead and release it. If not, y'all stay tuned for February 1st. It's been great